increasing the rationalization of healthcare vis-a-vis Obamacare and everything else in between. The government's going to have more power. That in itself does not bring costs down. It actually raises costs.
So you were saying for 55 and over, they're not touched, but for 55 and under, I mean, you're talking about, his proposal is drastic. I mean, it's a voucher system essentially. It's privatizing it. It's taking it out of government's hands.
You're going to find that most of the time, in fact, vast majority of times, government is vastly inefficient and wastes lots of money. The fact that you privatize something is necessarily a good thing. It actually creates jobs where we need to create jobs in the private sector, as opposed to the public sector, which is where Mr. Obama wants to create jobs. This is all in the sense of recovering our economy and bringing it back to the greatness it used to have, not as the purveyor of government and bureaucracy, but as the purveyor of innovation, private sector incentives, and jobs.
You made a point there about, the 54 and under, that they'll be looking out for them, but what is the concern? Because obviously on the other side of this, I've got somebody who's under 54, relies on Medicaid, has special needs. What would you say to them who they say, wait, don't mess with our stuff because we need it every day?
They need to be aware that if they want that coverage to be there for when they need to rely upon it, we must make these changes now. At this point, it's basically a government guaranteed benefit that we cannot keep. The numbers don't add up, and when it comes time for them to get that benefit, unless there's this modification now, we're not going to have it. Basically, Mr. Obama's thesis is this: honey, all our problems are solved. All we have to do is get this credit card that we're so way overextended upon and keep using it. You and I both know in the real world that does not work. In pie-in-the-sky speeches maybe, but not in the real world. Mr. Ryan's budget, whom I might add should also run for president. I'm so impressed with this proposal. Mr. Ryan's proposal addresses all that. Not only that, but cuts the deficit, which is going to kill us. $6.5 trillion in 10 years, while Mr. Obama goes a mere 4 in 12 years. Not even the usual 10-year period that we're used to seeing. In fact, if you look at the very own debt commission that Mr. Obama himself commissioned, they were completely and totally ignored until Mr. Ryan came out with this proposal. That only tells you the degree of demagoguery that there is on the left regarding this issue. We need to take care of this. This is a serious matter, and Mr. Ryan's proposal is the only serious alternative to ensuring that we have a future, instead of a future becoming Greece or Ireland or any one of these defaulting European powers.
And what about the tax cuts? I mean, the tax breaks. You think that the Bush tax cuts should be extended?
Absolutely. If you are serious about developing this economy and about having jobs be created, you can't punish those that are going to go ahead and create the jobs to begin with. It's known every time it's tried. When you give the investor the incentive to be able to lay down his own capital and for him to get returns on the money he's going to risk, the benefit is that much more, because that creates jobs, puts more money into the economy, and there's actually more revenue that goes into the government coffers at the end of the revenue curve than if you do a confiscatory policy like the one Mr. Obama wants to do to soak the rich and create class warfare, which is really more of a socio-Marxist kind of tenet, rather than create the economic harmony that will bring us back to being the powerhouse that we used to be. We need to be able to incentivize companies to come forth and create jobs here. In fact, Mr. Ryan's proposal limits those taxes on corporations to 25%. Mr. Obama puts them at 35%, way over. People are not going to come here and create jobs if they risk their capital, and they're going to be taxed out of this world.
You're a middle-class individual, correct?
100%.
You would not benefit from those cuts. I mean, from those tax breaks. That they will. You probably work hard, you pay your bills. I mean, why do you still believe, even though you won't necessarily benefit from this, that this is the right way?
Very simple. The top 1% of wage earners in this country pay 47% of all taxes. The bottom 3%, or the bottom 52% pay 3% of the taxes. You're trying to tell me that somebody in a financial bracket, which, by the way, I hope that I'm successful enough that I might join that bracket someday. That's the aspiration of everybody in America. That's the American dream. Do you mean to tell me that by continuously soaking them and vilifying them and demonizing them as people that need to get, sacked every time it's tried, that's the way we're going to get to economic prosperity? Folks, the way we were great in this country is that we promoted entrepreneurism, creativity, the incentive of the person that wants to create something out of his own two hands. We're making it more difficult if we follow Mr. Obama's plan for those dreams to come true. This is the American dream, not the government fantasy of ultimate power. And that's what Mr. Obama's promoting. Mr. Ryan is not.
Got it. I think I got about 20 sound bites, and 3 of which I can use. You good? All right, he's gonna get some shots because I mean, no, a lot. You know how to speak in sound bites.
Well, thank you.
You definitely don't like. Okay, am I gonna go that route, and then am I gonna go this one? Anyway, so okay, well, so you so part of it is you are hoping to join the tax bracket, and part of it is you feel like it's gonna be better for everybody.
Of course.
Okay, because I think that's one of the first. That's kind of why I like the way that I'm doing this story. I like it is that it's 2 middle class families, 2 very different perspectives.
Sure, listen, put it from a perspective of the person that's looking for that job. They may not be able to find it if there wasn't that entrepreneur to go and make a company in West Kendall, let's say, that does import-export. That guy might not have come down here and done that if there would have been an excessive confiscatory tax policy in place. We have to make it easier, including in this very county, to make it easier for people to do business because people will leave if you make those conditions more hostile. I don't understand why we want to do that and squelch creativity and entrepreneurism, which ultimately benefits us all because it creates a lower tax base, prosperity is bigger, there's more money in the economy for all concerned, we all benefit. I just don't understand why you want to put forward a confiscatory policy that is not going to benefit us. In the end, it's only going to promote government jobs, government the almighty power broker, government the almighty benefactor of us all, which really is not what America is.
And it's a video of you with your family. I see your daughter. And is your wife around?
No, she actually went to, because Mark goes to Columbus.
Oh.
And she went to a conference tonight. I was going to go, but I stayed back.
Oh, well, thank you. What would you guys be doing if I wasn't here and not at that conference?
I don't know, do you? Do you want to stop?